Guys, so market has closed. The market's closed now, and we have 1 hour before the market officially opens. So this is just for gold and for futures like Nasdaq, not for Forex. Forex doesn't close except on weekends, and crypto doesn't close at all. But anyways, let's do market analysis together on gold. Okay, so what I have on here is I've got I've got daily on this side, right? The lines that I've drawn, I drew these trend lines on the weekend and I would just move them as the market was moving. I don't like to touch my trend lines a lot. I only do them once a week on the weekend before the market officially opens for the week. But what I do is every morning after the market's closed, I take these gray lines and I take my alerts. I'm just going to move them away, but I go from daily, so I identify key levels on the day. So if the daily crosses this previous day's low, right? If the new day that's opening, if it crosses the low, I want to be looking for sell. So I put that gray line over there. But if it crosses the high, sorry, don't mind my alerts. If it crosses the high, then I want to be looking for buy. And then I go to the lower time frame. So I go to H4. So I go to H4 and on I just changed to H1, but this side I have like M30. I'll show that side afterwards, but on H4 over here, I want to see, can I move those lines closer, the lines that I had. I have seen that market does react to previous H4's low as well. So I think I'm gonna move this one to the previous H4's low, mainly because it's got a big rejection here, but it can do an impulse from here as well. So I'm just gonna move it to this H4 slow because when the new one opens, this is gonna be previous. If it crosses this H4 slow, I wanna be looking for sells, but if it's crossing the high, I wanna be looking for buys, right? But at the same time, what I do is then I have H4 over here. I go to the lower time frame. I go to H1. Wrong chart on H1. So this is H1. So I go to H1 and I ask myself, can I move those lines further away or closer together? And I'm looking over here and there is this, I'm just gonna move my alert away for now and I'll add it later once I'm done. There is this zone over here, and after this, the market's got a clean up move. And what I want to do is I want to see, can I wait for the market to go above this area if I'm looking for buys? Because after that, it's very clean. On H1, it's got so many touch points on this line. I'm going to keep it because it's a strong level. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my alert here as well. So if it's crossing below this area and if it's closing below this area, I want to take a sell. I'm estimating and hoping that the daily will flip to a sell if it does do that. But if it does go break towards the upside, because overall it still seems in a buy, they're like in an uptrend. So if it does break towards the upside and matches the overall uptrend, then I want to look for buys. But then I'd go to M30. So I go to M30 because I take my trades on M30. I want to be in a trade based on M30 confirmation. So M30, I ask myself, can I move these lines closer or further together? And this line is perfect. It's on the support, it's got touch points. If price breaks this area, we can have a good, let me draw this here. We can have a good short, right? So we can have this good short trade. And I go as low as the time frame I want to trade on. I don't know how high or how far away you keep your stop loss, but mine's usually like 20 to 30 pips. But this is like me just saying it's going to be a sell if it crosses below this area. But if it doesn't, now we have to also prepare for buys. Where's the safest entry for buys? So what I'm doing is I am just going to move this line a bit closer on this resistance. Why? Because usually I take the wick as wick fill. So I take, if the price can go here, it can fill this wick. That's my mindset, right? But I didn't move like on H1. I put it here because it's got multiple wicks rejecting, and on M30 it's actually got multiple bodies here, so it won't become big fills, and only these candles you can look at having big fills. So that's it. I'm gonna look for buys above this area. Now that I've finalized it, I'm gonna put an alert there, and I'm gonna look for sells below this area. That's all, folks. So I'm gonna wait for market open at 10 a.m. And what I'm today I'm gonna improve from yesterday. I'm not taking any of the impulsive trades. I'm gonna wait for my alerts. When the alerts do happen, only then I'm gonna take my trade.